Tom adjusted his safety belt as the small scout ship shook violently. Outside the window, stars were spinning, and the control screen flashed red. Mira, sitting beside him, was focused, pressing buttons quickly. "We're going down," she said. "I noticed," Tom replied, gripping the sides of his seat. Their ship, the Dust B, had been on a normal survey mission. It was supposed to be a quick stop near the moon called Plox 7. They had to collect samples of plants and record the climate. But now, the ship was spinning, the engines had failed, and the only thing ahead of them was a thick green jungle. The ship crashed through the trees, metal scraping and branches snapping. It finally landed with a loud thud and slid into a muddy field. Steam hissed from the sides. Inside, lights flickered. Then everything went dark. Tom groaned. "That wasn't in the plan." Mira slowly stood up. "Are you okay?" "I think so," he said, rubbing his head. "My stomach isn't, though." Mira opened the side hatch. Warm, humid air rushed in. Outside, they saw a strange world. Tall trees with glowing vines, plants that puffed out dust when touched, and buzzing sounds from somewhere deep in the jungle. "Well," Mira said, "this is Plox 7. Welcome." Tom stepped out of the ship and looked around. "Why is everything buzzing?" Mira walked ahead, scanning with her device. "Insects, thousands of them, maybe millions." Tom didn't like the sound of that. He followed her, carefully stepping around a puddle of thick, brown mud. They found a wide tree trunk lying on the ground. It was hollow and large enough for both of them to sit inside. Mira sniffed the air and made a face. "Ugh, something smells terrible here." Tom sniffed too and coughed. "Smells like rotten eggs mixed with old socks." Still, they needed shelter. The sun was setting and the air was thick with mist. Mira began checking the nearby plants while Tom explored the outside of the log. "Hey, Mira," he called. "What's this stuff?" He pointed to a dark green moss growing on the bark. It looked like wet carpet. "That might be dung moss," Mira said, walking over. "I read about it. Local insect species produce it for marking their territory." Tom touched it with a stick. It was soft and sticky. He sniffed it and made a face. "Smells worse than the log." "Don't touch it too much," Mira warned. "Insects here use scent to identify things. That stuff might confuse them." Tom nodded, but his eyes were still curious. The night came quickly. Strange lights glowed from some plants, and insect wings buzzed louder in the darkness. Mira and Tom sat inside the log, trying to stay warm and hidden. "I think the ship is still mostly okay," Mira said. "But the engine's power core is dead." "So we're stuck," Tom said. "For now," Mira nodded. "Tomorrow we'll look for crystal sources. This moon has some energy-rich materials." Tom looked out the log opening. His eyes caught something in the distance, bright green flashes between the trees. And a sound, a deep hum, almost like a chant made by insects. "You hear that?" he asked. Mira listened. "That's not wind." The sound grew louder. Dozens of tiny lights moved between the trees. Then they saw them, giant flies. Their wings beat in harmony, and their eyes glowed. They were flying in a wide circle like they were searching for something. Tom whispered, "I really hope they don't like human food." Suddenly, one of the flies landed nearby. It sniffed the air, then another, and another. Soon, 6 of them were standing around the log, their antennas pointing at Tom. "Oh, no," Tom said. They smell me. Mira looked at him sharply. Did you touch the dung moss? Only a little, he admitted. Tom, she hissed. That stuff tells them you're one of theirs, or maybe worse, something they offered to their queen. Tom didn't have time to ask what she meant. One of the flies made a low chirping noise. The others responded, flapping their wings in patterns. Suddenly, they moved toward him. Panicking, Tom grabbed a chunk of dung moss and smeared it on his jacket, arms, and even his helmet. "What are you doing?" Mira yelled. "They're backing off," Tom shouted, and it was true. The flies stopped moving. Their wings slowed. Then they bowed. Mira's eyes widened. "Oh no. What? It worked." Tom smiled. "You idiot," she said. "Now they think you're a sacred treat. You just told the Fly Queen you belong to her." Tom blinked. "Wait. Treat? Like a pet?" "No," Mira said. "Like a dessert." Tom froze. The flies chirped again and gently surrounded him and Mira. One stepped forward, offering a shiny beetle shell like a gift. "I think we're being invited," Tom said. "More like taken," Mira replied, sighing. "Let's just hope their queen isn't hungry." As the flies guided them toward the glowing forest, Mira whispered, "Next time, don't touch anything sticky." Tom nodded, noted. They disappeared into the buzzing trees, the jungle closing behind them, leaving only the crushed trail of giant insect feet and the strange smell of moss in the air. Tom walked slowly through the glowing forest, surrounded by buzzing sounds and giant flies. Their wings hummed gently as they guided him and Mira deeper into the jungle. The flies didn't seem angry. In fact, they looked pleased. Too pleased. "Are they smiling?" Tom whispered. "They don't have lips," Mira replied. "But yes, I think they're smiling." The air was thick with strange smells. Sweet nectar, mossy bark, and something sour that made Mira wrinkle her nose. The flies walked in a circle around them, protecting them like royal guards. One of them buzzed softly and dropped a flower at Tom's feet. "Okay, that's the 5th gift they've given you," Mira said. "They're really serious about this treat thing." Tom scratched his head. "Maybe they think I'm their leader now?" Mira looked at him. "No, they think you're a snack." Tom gulped. The group reached a clearing, and in front of them stood a huge dome-shaped structure made from golden wax and thick branches. The dome pulsed with light from within. Giant flies flew in and out of small round openings like a living airport. At the entrance, 2 larger flies stood guard. Their wings were painted with blue patterns. When they saw Tom, they bowed low and moved aside. "Welcome to the Hive Palace," Mira whispered. "Looks like someone got invited to dinner." "I really hope you don't mean that literally," Tom said. Inside the dome, the walls glowed with soft yellow light. The air was warm and sticky, and the sound of wings echoed from all directions. Hundreds of flies lined the walls, watching silently as Tom and Mira were led through the halls. At the center of the palace stood a wide platform made of crystal-like honey, and sitting on top of it was the Fly Queen. She was larger than the others, with long silver wings and 6 sparkling eyes. Her head was crowned with a ring of flowers and shell pieces. When she saw Tom, she stood tall and spread her wings wide. "Sweet wrapped one," she said, her voice light like music. "You have returned to us." Tom froze. Returned, Mira whispered. She probably thinks you're part of an ancient prophecy or something. Tom cleared his throat. Hello. Your buzziness? The queen tilted her head. Do you speak the language of flowers or the scent of storms? Mira quickly stepped in. I'm his translator. I speak, the language of leaf thoughts. The queen nodded. Then speak, leaf talker. Why has the sweet-wrapped one returned to us now? Mira bowed slightly. He has come to understand your people and bring help. Help? The queen asked. Yes, Mira said. We noticed that your nectar pools are drying up. Without them, the hive is in danger. The queen looked sad. It is true. Our nectar is fading. The jungle grows dry. The sweetness disappears. Tom stepped forward. We have a way to fix it. The flies gasped. Some buzzed excitedly. The queen raised her antenna. You do? Mira pulled out a small container from her backpack. Inside it was a green jelly with small bubbles inside. This is earth algae, she explained. It can clean and renew soil. If we mix it with the base of your nectar pools, it might bring the nectar back. The queen leaned closer. Can it truly do this? Tom nodded. We're willing to try, but we'll need tools and time. The queen stood tall again. Then you shall have both. Prepare the pools, and let it be known. The sweet-wrapped one is under my protection. The crowd of flies cheered. They buzzed loudly and beat their wings in rhythm. Tom looked nervous. Why are they so excited? He asked. Mira leaned closer and whispered, Because you just became their sacred guest. Tom blinked. So I'm not food? Well, she said, not yet. Later, Mira and Tom were taken to a side room filled with golden plants and soft wax benches. They were given sweet drinks made from flower nectar and something crunchy that tasted like toasted leaves. Tom sat back. So, I covered myself in alien dung, and now I'm a sacred being. Mira sipped her drink. Yes, and somehow that saved us. Does that mean I have to keep wearing this smell? Mira nodded. Until we fix the nectar problem. If you wash it off now, they might change their mind. Tom sighed. Great. I'm their favorite snack and their savior. A small fly buzzed into the room and handed Mira a scroll made of pressed leaves. She opened it. It's a map of the nectar pools, she said. There are 6 main ones. We'll need to treat each pool with algae and restart their flow. How long will that take? Tom asked. If everything works, maybe 3 days, Mira said. 3 days covered in alien dung, Tom muttered. I should get a medal. You might, Mira said. Or wings. Tom laughed. Then he grew quiet. Mira, he said, do you think we'll really be able to fix it? She looked at him. We have to. If we don't, the hive might collapse, and we won't get off this moon. He nodded. Okay, let's do this. The next morning, Tom and Mira were led through the hive's tunnels toward the first nectar pool. Along the way, fly workers bowed to Tom and offered him pollen cakes and soft flower crowns. One even tried to shine his boots with her wings. Mira chuckled. You're a celebrity now. Tom looked embarrassed. Yeah, the kind that smells like a compost bin. They reached the first pool, a wide basin made of soft rock and lined with dried flower paste. It was almost empty, with only a little golden nectar left at the bottom. Mira knelt down and opened her algae container. She mixed it with local water and poured it gently into the pool. Tom looked around. No one's watching. Can I scratch my nose? No, Mira said. Sacred treats don't scratch. Tom sighed. This is going to be a long mission. As the algae began to spread, across the pool a soft blue light glowed from the center. The flies around them buzzed excitedly. It was working. Tom was still trying to adjust his flower crown when he and Mira walked deeper into the hive's golden tunnels. The air inside was sweet and heavy, like warm honey. Soft yellow lights glowed from the waxy walls, and a quiet hum of wings followed them wherever they went. Fly workers passed by, nodding their heads and buzzing greetings. Some offered small gifts, tiny crystal leaves, scented petals, or bundles of dried nectar sticks. Everywhere Tom went, he was treated like an honored guest. I never thought being sticky and smelly could get this much respect, Tom said. Mira smiled. Enjoy it while it lasts. Once we fix the nectar pools, they might forget about you. Or eat me, Tom muttered. They were now living in a special guest chamber near the Queen's main platform. The room had soft wax beds, hanging flower, curtains, and even a small bath made of smooth stone. Of course, Tom couldn't use the bath, not without washing off the dung moss. If I smell any better, he joked, they might throw me out. Mira had been busy each day checking the health of the nectar pools, testing algae samples, and studying the hive's inner workings. She had discovered something important. Tom, she said one evening, pointing at her notes, the nectar isn't just food. It's their life source. Tom blinked. You mean, like fuel? Yes, Mira said. The nectar keeps their body temperature balanced, helps them fly, and even powers parts of the hive. If it dries up, the entire system could collapse. Tom looked at the hive walls. So we're not just helping insects, we're saving a whole living city. Mira nodded. Exactly. Later that day, the Fly Queen invited them back to the central hall. Dozens of flies filled the space, buzzing softly as the Queen floated down from her golden perch. She greeted Tom with a soft wave of her antennae. Sweet-wrapped one. Leaf talker. The pools are whispering again. Their voices are faint but hopeful. Mira smiled. That means the algae is working. The pool we treated is waking up. The Queen's wings shimmered. You have honored us, but there is more to do. The farthest pool, the deep spiral, lies near the edge of the jungle. It is old and silent. Tom raised an eyebrow. So it's a difficult one? Yes, the Queen said. Even we do not go there often. Strange winds move through it. Some say the ground speaks. Tom exchanged a look with Mira. Sounds like fun. Tomorrow, the Queen said, we will guide you to the deep spiral. You will not be alone. Just then, a tall figure stepped out from the shadows. He had sharp wings, painted armor, and deep red eyes. His antennae were longer than the others, and his steps were slow but strong. This is Commander Zurk, the Queen said. He will watch over you. Zurk bowed slightly but said nothing. Mira leaned toward Tom. He doesn't look happy? Tom nodded. Maybe he's not a fan of sacred snacks. The next morning, Tom, Mira, and Zurk traveled through the hive's outer tunnels, followed by a small group of guard flies. The forest outside was louder now, and dark clouds moved across the green sky. It smelled like rain. As they walked, Tom tried to talk to Zurk. So, Tom said. Have you always been? A commander? Zurk gave a short nod. Cool, Tom continued. Do you, like your job? Zurk finally spoke, his voice deep and calm. I serve the hive. I protect the queen. I question outsiders. Tom blinked. Okay, that's clear. Mira walked beside Zurk. We're just here to help. We want to save the pools. The pools are sacred, Zurk said. We've guarded them for generations. We don't need foreign tools. Tom looked at Mira, then back at Zurk. But they're drying up. Even the queen believes we can help. Zurk said nothing more. He just kept walking. Soon they reached the edge of the jungle. Thick fog covered the ground, and strange trees with spiral trunks rose up around them. A deep hum came from below, like the earth was breathing. This place feels different, Tom said. Zurk pointed forward. The deep spiral lies there. They entered a wide-open space where the ground dipped into a spiral-shaped canyon. At the center was a flat pool, cracked and dry. Old pipes stuck out from the edges, and insects buzzed silently around the walls. Mira set down her pack and pulled out a new algae mix. This one has more growth boosters. Let's hope it works here. Tom helped her pour the green jelly into the dry cracks. Nothing happened at first. Then slowly blue bubbles formed. A soft mist rose from the center. It's waking up, Mira said. Suddenly a loud cracking noise echoed through the air. The ground shook. What was that? Tom asked. Zurk drew his spear. Something stirs below. From the cracks in the ground, small gas clouds began to rise. The spiral rocks glowed slightly, and a distant buzzing sound grew louder. Mira looked around. We may have triggered something old, Zurk pointed. There, the vents! Dark. Mist poured from a corner vent, and something moved beneath the surface, like a long shadow swimming under stone. Tom stepped back. I don't like that. Just then, the pool flashed bright blue. The gas disappeared. The buzzing faded. The glow stopped. Everything became calm again. Mira checked her scanner. It's okay. The pool accepted the algae. The gas was just pressure. Release. Zurk slowly lowered his spear. The deep spiral lives. Tom wiped his forehead. That was dramatic. Zurk looked at him. You did not run. That is good. Tom smiled. Well, I was too scared to move. Zurk tilted his head, then turned back toward the hive. Let us return. There is more work ahead. As they walked back, Mira whispered to Tom, You made a good impression. Tom looked surprised. On the commander. He respects courage, she said. Even smelly courage, Tom chuckled. Well, I'm full of that. The sun began to rise again over Block 7, and the jungle buzzed with life. Deep inside the hive, the nectar slowly returned. But unknown to Tom and Mira, not everyone in the hive was happy. In the shadows of the upper chambers, a group of worker flies whispered to each other. One of them held a faded scroll. On it was a picture of a creature covered in moss, just like Tom. Prophecy, one of them said. The sweet-wrapped one has returned. But is he really the one? Or is he a mistake? Back inside the hive, the atmosphere had changed. The air was still sweet, but now it carried something new. Hope. The buzzing in the halls sounded brighter. Fly workers moved faster. Even the walls seemed to glow more than before. Tom walked with Mira through a high tunnel lined with waxy patterns. Fly children watched from the sides, waving small flower petals at him. One even tossed a tiny leaf crown. Tom smiled nervously. They still think I'm some kind of royal dessert. You saved 2 nectar pools, Mira said. To them, that's a miracle. I'm just the guy who wore bug dung, Tom said. You did the real science? Mira laughed. You were the brave one. I just mixed green jelly. As they entered the Queen's chamber, guards stepped aside. The Fly Queen sat calmly on her golden platform, her wings folded like curtains behind her. The pools are singing again, she said. You have given breath to a dying hive. Mira bowed. We're glad we could help, but we still have more work. 4 pools remain. The Queen raised one wing. You shall have full access to the hive's heart, our water roots, our nectar, roots, our storage cells. Whatever you need will be yours. Tom's eyes lit up. Do you have tools? The Queen tilted her head. We have many things. What is a tool? Tom held up a small scanner. Things that fix, open, or build. The Queen made a clicking sound, and 2 workers buzzed off. They returned carrying a basket filled with shiny objects, crystals, spiral bones, and sticks carved with patterns. Tom examined them. These are weird, but they might work. Over the next few hours, Mira and Tom set up a small lab corner inside their guest chamber. They used smooth stones as work tables. The flies brought jars of nectar, leaves with sticky oils, and hollow plant tubes. With some effort, Mira built a new version of the algae mixer. She called it Bloom 1. It will release the algae slowly over time, she explained. Even the deepest pools will get treated, Tom added. And we won't have to jump into sticky holes every time. Their first test was a success. A pool near the hive's eastern wall glowed bright blue just 30 minutes after the treatment. The news spread fast. Flies buzzed through the halls chanting, "The sweet-wrapped one brings bloom," and "Leaf Talker stirs the roots." Tom blushed every time he heard it. Later that day, the Queen held a small celebration in their honor. The hall was decorated with glowing fungus and scented flower steam. Music came from a group of fly musicians who made sound by rubbing their wings in rhythm. Tom was given a long robe made of silk leaf strips. Mira was gifted a clear stone shaped like a droplet. They sat at the Queen's table, where food was served, on fresh leaves, crisp pollen cakes, honey root slices, and a sparkling drink made from crushed seeds. Tom sipped carefully. "This is surprisingly tasty," Mira agreed. "Their culture is more advanced than we thought." But not everyone was smiling. From a high, shadowy ledge, Commander Zurk watched the celebration. His face was calm, but his wings twitched slightly. Later, that night, Mira found Zurk outside near the irrigation tunnels. "Something on your mind?" she asked. Zurk looked at her. "The hive changes too quickly. Some see hope, others see danger." "We only want to help," Mira said. "Without nectar, the hive will fade." Zurk turned toward her. "I believe you, but some fear change more than hunger." He didn't say more. He flew off into the darkness. The next morning, while Mira worked on Bloom 2, Tom decided to explore a little. He wandered into a side tunnel and found a classroom filled with young flylings. They buzzed quietly and watched as a teacher showed them pictures drawn with nectar. One picture looked just like him, a small human, covered in moss. Tom blinked. "Wait, is that me?" The teacher turned and bowed. "Sweet-wrapped one, we teach the ancient words." "What ancient words?" he asked. The teacher showed him a scroll. On it were drawings. A creature covered in dung moss, bringing green, life to dry pools, and standing beside the queen. "It is the story of the returner," the teacher said. "A being who saves the hive in our darkest hour." Tom slowly sat down. "You really think that's me?" The teacher buzzed softly. "It matches the signs, your smell, your glow, your courage." Tom rubbed the back of his neck. "I just didn't want to get eaten." The class giggled. He stood and thanked the teacher, then returned to the lab. "Mira," he said, "they think I'm part of a prophecy." She looked up from her mixer. "They told you that too?" Tom nodded. "But what if I mess up? What if I do something wrong and the hive blames me?" Mira placed a hand on his shoulder. "You've already done more than they expected. Just be yourself. That's enough." That night, something strange happened. A loud buzz echoed through the hive. Guards rushed through the tunnels. Mira and Tom ran out of their room and followed the sound. They reached the main nectar chamber. The floor was wet. A pipe had burst, flooding one of the pools. Zurk stood nearby, his wings tense. "Someone damaged the flow system," he said. "On purpose." The queen appeared, her eyes wide. "Who would harm the heart of the hive?" Zurk pointed to the broken mixer pipe. It was sliced, not cracked. Tom looked around. "Why would anyone do that?" No one had an answer. But deep in the shadows, two flies whispered. "The sweet-wrapped one is changing the hive too much," one said. "Perhaps we don't need saving," the other replied. "Perhaps we need to stop him." The broken pipe in the nectar chamber was fixed, but the hive was no longer calm. Tension filled the air like heavy smoke. Flies moved quietly through the halls. Whispers floated between tunnels. Something had changed. Tom noticed it right away. "No more cheers. No more flower crowns," he said, looking around. Mira nodded. "They're scared. Someone inside the hive wants us gone." The queen had called for silence until the truth was found. She ordered more guards at the nectar pools and told all workers to report anything strange. But the damage had already spread like a crack through glass. That morning, Tom and Mira continued their work. Bloom 3 was ready, packed in strong seed shell containers. It was meant for the largest nectar pool, the sky basin, which sat near the top of the hive, open to the sky above. Tom climbed the winding path with Mira and two guards. The basin was quiet. A light breeze passed over the golden walls. The pool itself was nearly dry, its edges cracked and dull. Tom sighed. "Let's fix this one fast." They placed the algae containers around the basin and poured them in. The green mix bubbled, spread, and slowly turned blue. The ground shimmered, faintly. It was working. But then they heard wings, sharp, fast, angry. A group of flies flew toward them. Their eyes glowed red. Their flight pattern was not friendly. Tom stood quickly. "Mira, we've got company." The lead fly shouted, "This is sacred ground. You have no right to change it." Mira stepped forward calmly. "We were asked by the queen herself. The pools need this." "You bring change too fast," the fly snapped. "Our ways are not yours. Leave us." Tom raised his hands. Please, we only want to help. Look, this pool is alive again. But they didn't listen. One fly rushed forward and tried to knock over an algae container. Before it could, Zerk landed between them. Enough! Zerk shouted. The angry flies stopped. Zerk's voice was strong and steady. You dishonor the Queen's word, he said. These two are under her care. The angry group buzzed loudly but backed away. They flew off into the sky, leaving silence behind. Tom let out a long breath. Thanks, Zerk. Zerk didn't smile. You must move faster. The hive is splitting. Some follow the Queen. Others fear her choices. Mira nodded. We'll finish soon. They walked back down to their lab room. But Tom was still thinking. He sat on a wax bench and looked at his hands. Mira, what if I caused this? Mira turned to him. What do you mean? This whole mess started when I smeared dung moss on myself, Tom said. They think I'm their sweet-wrapped one. What if I've made everything worse? Mira sat beside him. You didn't ask for their worship. You tried to survive, and now you're helping them. Tom looked down. But if they fight each other because of me, she interrupted, then we fix it together. Just then, the Queen arrived. She looked tired. There are loud voices in the dark. I fear the hive will break. We're close, Mira said. 2 pools remain. Once they're restored, the hive will stabilize. The Queen nodded. Then I ask for one more task. There is an old chamber, forgotten. A secret nectar root grows there. If you heal it, the hive may remember its unity. Tom stood. We'll do it. The hidden chamber was deep underground. The air was warm, the walls narrow. Zurich led them through winding paths until they reached a thick door covered in vines. He pushed it open. Inside was a small room with a single glowing pool. In the middle grew a short, bright yellow plant with soft petals and long roots stretching into the floor. This is the heart root, Zurich said. It is connected to every nectar path. Mira stepped forward. Then this is the key. She knelt beside the pool and poured the last batch of algae into the center. The green liquid circled the roots slowly. The petals twitched. A faint hum filled the room. Tom watched closely. Is it working? The hum grew louder. The plant glowed brighter. Then the roots pulsed. All across the hive, tiny streams of golden nectar began to flow through long-forgotten channels. The walls glowed brighter. The air smelled sweeter. It was working. Zurich stared in silence. I did not believe. But now, I see. He turned to Tom and bowed. You are not just the sweet-wrapped one, he said. You are the bringer of balance. Tom looked embarrassed. I just followed Mira's plan, Zurich nodded. And you had courage to do so. The hive rejoiced. Nectar flowed in every pool. Worker flies buzzed in rhythm again. The Queen stood in her chamber, her wings fully open. But not all were happy. In a dark corner, the same 2 flies from before watched the celebrations. One held a bag made from dried leaves. He has awakened the heart root, the first said. Then we must act quickly, the second replied. The prophecy ends with a sacrifice. Later that night, Tom stood at the edge of the sky basin. He looked up at the stars. Mira joined him. It's peaceful now. Tom nodded. Do you think we can go home soon? Once the Queen gives us fuel crystals, she said. Maybe in 1 or 2 days. Tom smiled. I'm starting to miss normal food. They laughed quietly. Suddenly, a soft sound came from behind them. A whisper. A step. Mira turned. From the shadows, one of the rebels stepped out, holding a sharp stick made from hardened nectar shell. He pointed it at Tom. You must leave now, or the hive will suffer. Mira stepped between them. Put that down. The fly's wings twitched. He is not the real one. He brings too much change. Tom raised his hands. We're not your enemies. But the fly moved closer. Just before anything happened, Zurk landed beside them with a loud buzz. His spear glowed with light. Enough, he shouted. No more fear. The rebel froze. Then quietly, he flew away. Tom let out a breath. That was close. Zurk turned to him. They will try again, but we will protect you. Mira looked at the glowing nectar in the distance. The hive is healing. They're just scared. Tom said, we'll stay alert and finish what we started. The next morning, golden light poured through the hive's upper chambers. Buzzing sounds filled the air, not wild or confused, but calm and full of energy. The nectar streams were glowing, flowing smoothly through the walls like rivers of life. Tom stood at the center of the hive, watching fly workers clean the floors, fix broken tunnels, and water blooming plants. They're so happy now, he said softly. Mira joined him. The heart root brought everything back. Even the smallest insects are flying again. Tom smiled. Feels like the hive is alive again. In the queen's chamber, the fly queen called a gathering. Flies of all sizes filled the halls, buzzing in soft waves. Tom and Mira stood before the queen. Zurk stood behind them, wings folded in silence. The queen rose. Let it be known, the sweet-wrapped one and the leaf-talker have returned the voice of nectar to our home. The crowd buzzed with joy. We offer our deepest thanks, the queen continued. And now we ask one last gift, a new irrigation route. Mira tilted her head. A new route? Zurk explained. A strong branch of nectar lines, built by hand. It will hold all the flows together, like a backbone. Tom understood. It's like a final pipe, one that connects everything. The queen nodded. Only you can place it. The hive trusts your touch. Tom and Mira spent the next few hours building the route. They used parts from old pipes, strong plant shells, and sticky nectar paste. With Zurk's help, they crafted a long, winding route and sealed it with dried algae. The final step was placing it into the nectar core, the hive's deepest point. It was a small chamber under the heart root, hidden behind thick, waxy walls. Only the queen and Zurk knew the way. When they reached the chamber, it was quiet. The air was warm, and the walls glowed softly. A small pool waited at the center. Tom knelt and placed the root carefully into the pool. The moment it touched the nectar, a low hum filled the air. Blue and gold lights pulsed through the walls. The hive responded instantly. The root accepted the flow. It lit up like a path made of stars. It's working, Mira said. Suddenly the walls shook. What was that? Tom asked. Zurk looked up. Something's wrong. The shaking grew, stronger. Bits of wax fell from the ceiling. Back in the upper hive, cracks opened in the tunnel walls. The old paths, unused for years, were too dry. As the nectar rushed through them, pressure built up fast. Too fast. Mira's scanner beeped. Underground gas pockets are releasing. The nectar's waking everything. Tom grabbed her hand. We have to stop the pressure, or the hive will burst. Zurich shouted, We need to open the side vents, all of them. Tom, Mira, and Zurich rushed up the hive tunnels. Flies screamed and flew in circles. Thick mist filled the lower chambers. Nectar spilled from the roots like golden waterfalls. Tom pointed to a vent pipe on the wall. There! Open it! He climbed up and turned the valve. A blast of steam hissed. Out! The pressure dropped a little. Mira opened another vent nearby. We need more! Zurich led them through narrow passages, finding old hidden vents. Each one they opened released more gas and heat. Soon the hive started to cool down. The shaking slowed. Tom fell to his knees, breathing hard. Is it over? Mira scanned the walls. Almost. One last spot. They climbed to the roof of the hive, the top of the sky basin. Wind blew across the open space. The final vent sat at the edge of a long, dry tunnel. Tom ran forward. I got this one! But just as he reached it, a shadow dropped from above. It was one of the rebels, the same fly who had pointed the stick at him before. You've done enough, the rebel growled. Tom stepped back. We're just trying to save the hive. You've changed it, the rebel shouted. This is not our way! He raised a sharp piece of dried shell. Mira shouted, Stop! But the rebel moved toward Tom. Just as he struck, Zurich flew in from the side and blocked the attack with his spear. You will not harm him, Zurich roared. The rebel fought back, buzzing loudly. Tom ducked while Mira opened the vent behind them. Gas shot out into the sky, carrying away the heat. The rebel turned to run, but Zurich caught him with a quick move. He didn't hurt him, just tied his wings with vine cord. Tom looked around. The wind blew gently now. The shaking had stopped. We did it, he whispered. Zurich nodded. The hive is safe. That evening, the Queen called another gathering. But this time it wasn't just flies inside. Colorful butterflies, small tree, frogs, and glowing beetles from the forest had come. They sat along the hive walls, watching silently. The Queen stood tall. Today, the sweet-wrapped one gave us breath, the leaf-talker gave us wisdom, and the strong wing gave us courage. Zurich bowed, his head lowered. The Queen continued. Let their names be part of our sky song forever. She raised her antennae. From above, hundreds of young flies flew in patterns, drawing shapes in the sky using golden pollen dust. Circles, lines and waves formed images, a human with a crown, a woman with a glowing flower, and a strong winged protector. Tom looked up in wonder. That's us, Mira smiled. Your fan club just grew. The Queen approached them with a clear crystal. This is our gift, fuel for your flying hive, she said. Tom took the crystal. Thank you, the Queen added, but also, come back. You are welcome here. Back in their small ship, Tom placed the crystal into the power core. The screens lit up again. The ship hummed gently. Mira ran checks. Systems green. We're ready to fly. Tom looked out the window at the hive. You think they'll be okay? He asked. They've already changed, Mira said. They're stronger now. Zurich stood nearby, watching from a tall branch. He didn't wave, but he gave a slow nod. Tom smiled. I'll never look at bugs the same way again. As the ship lifted off, the flies buzzed in one final song, filling the sky with glowing trails of color. Tom leaned back in his seat. So, where to next? Mira grinned. Anywhere. That doesn't smell like dung. They both laughed as the ship disappeared into the stars. Tom sat in the pilot's seat, staring at the glowing crystal. It sat in the center of their ship's energy core, sending soft blue light through every system. The ship was flying smoothly again. No shakes, no sparks, no alarms. Mira sat beside him, her boots up on the dashboard. "It's quiet," she said. "Too quiet." Tom smiled. "You miss the buzzing, don't you?" "No," she said quickly. "But maybe a little." Their ship flew above a wide sea of clouds. Below them were floating islands, glowing trees, and peaceful lakes. The hive world was now far behind, only a dot on their radar. Tom checked the scanner. "No signals, nothing in the area. Guess we can finally rest." But just as he leaned back, the screen blinked. Beep, beep, beep. Mira sat up straight. "Is that a distress signal?" Tom looked closer. "It's weak and old, coming from a small moon nearby." The signal was strange, part human, part alien. The message kept repeating one line. "Don't trust the stars. Some of them bite." Mira raised an eyebrow. "What kind of message is that?" Tom set a course. "Let's go find out." Their ship landed gently on the surface of the small moon. It was dark and rocky but quiet. No storms, no enemies. Just silence. They walked out, both wearing light pressure suits. Their boots made soft, crunching sounds on the dusty ground. The signal led them to a small, broken pod. Its side was cracked, and wires hung out like vines, but the inside still had a soft glow. Tom stepped in carefully. "It's a research pod." Mira checked a panel. "From the old Earth fleet. This pod is almost 90 years old." Tom touched the screen. A recording played. A man's voice came through. It was tired, but calm. "If you're hearing this, I'm probably dust. I was part of Team I. Sol 9. We came to study this star system. We thought it was peaceful. We were wrong." The voice paused. There was a low hum in the background. "The stars here are alive, or something lives in them. We saw shapes move inside the light. They whispered things. Strange things. Then they attacked. We didn't even understand how. My team disappeared, one by one. I hid here." Mira stepped back. "This isn't just a warning, it's a clue," Tom agreed. Maybe the hive planet was protected. Maybe the hive kept something else away. Suddenly, Mira's scanner lit up. A bright object was moving fast from the edge of the system. Not a rock, not a ship. Something glowing. She gasped. "It's coming from a star." They ran back to their ship. The engines powered on just in time. As they took off, they saw it. A ball of bright energy flying through space, changing shape like a storm made of light. It wasn't fire. It wasn't metal. It was something different. "It's following us," Mira said. Tom turned the ship fast, diving behind a cluster of small moons. "Let's see if we can lose it." But the glowing shape followed. It didn't stop. It moved faster than any normal ship. Then, suddenly, it disappeared. Tom and Mira waited, holding their breath. No sound. No movement. Tom whispered, "Did it?" Slam! Their ship shook. Lights blinked. The outside camera showed the glowing shape attaching itself to the hull. Mira shouted, "It's trying to enter!" Tom had an idea. "Mira, remember the Queen's gift?" "The nectar shell?" "Yes. We sprayed it on the engine walls. Maybe it can block this thing." Mira ran to the cargo bay. The smell of old nectar was strong. She pulled out a large container and sprayed the mixture into the ship's vent systems. The glow outside the ship grew brighter. Then, whoosh! A loud hum echoed. The glowing shape pulled back. The nectar had burned it, or confused it. Tom flew fast, pushing the engines. Behind them, the light shape let out one last flash, then faded away. Mira returned, breathless. "That worked." Tom smiled. "Alien dung saves the day. Again." Back in space, their ship floated safely between stars. The danger was over, for now. Mira looked at the screen. "That warning, don't trust the stars." "It makes sense now," Tom nodded. "But not all stars are bad. Some worlds are still kind, like the Hive planet." Mira sat down. "What now?" Tom smiled. "Let's leave a message." He typed a short signal and sent it across space. "To anyone listening, the Hive world is alive. The nectar brings healing. But beware the glowing ones in the stars. Stay close to life. Stay close to nature." He paused, then added, "And if you ever smell dung, don't run. It might just save you." Months later, on the Hive world, Zurk stood at the top of a tall tree. He watched the sky. The flies had grown stronger. Their hive now had bridges made of living vines, new pools of nectar, and tunnels filled with light. Young flylings buzzed around, laughing in the air. Suddenly, the Queen flew beside him. "They were here," she said softly, "but now they fly somewhere else." Zurk nodded, "But their gift remains." From the trees, a group of tiny beetles came forward. One of them wore a small human-made necklace. They were learning, changing. The hive was no longer just a home. For flies, it was becoming a place for all. Back in deep space, Tom and Mira watched the stars. "Where to next?" she asked. Tom pointed at a glowing blue planet far ahead. "That one. Looks quiet. Probably won't involve dung." Mira grinned. "Don't jinx it." The ship sped off again, leaving a trail of light behind. Wherever they went, they carried stories, laughter, and hope. Because humans, no matter how strange or silly they seemed, always brought change. Sometimes with their words, sometimes with their hearts, and sometimes by smearing themselves in alien dung.